The closure of fresh fish counters in supermarkets, popular fish and chip shops and seafood joint has added to the stress of port bosses who were already worried about the future of the UK-EU trading relationship. Trawlers have seen a huge drop in demand for the fish they land since lockdowns were imposed on the continent. Celia McKenzie, chief executive of Whitehaven Harbour, said boats have landed more wealth than they can store. Almost all of the sea snail caught is destined for China, but due to the strict lockdown it is going nowhere. She explained how massive freezers holding the whelks are lying idle in Chinese ports unable to be opened. She told The Telegraph, there is also no pressure on the fishing sector to pass on their grant income if they don't go out to sea. Great big lockdown survey, tell us what life's like for you by answering these questions. The port sector, not the people in the vessels, have been overlooked. I don't know how we're going to survive. Fishermen are being supported by the government's coronavirus job retention scheme during the crisis. But ports can no longer rely on the charge normally paid by fishers, which is estimated to be about 2% of the overall value of the catch landed. This means less money for the running of ports, which tends to be the same amount whether they in use or not. Martin Boyers, chief executive of Grimsby Fish Dock, said the association has received no income from the fish market for 5 weeks and issued a stark warning about what lies ahead. Some ports could go bust in 4 to 6 weeks, he said. Boris Johnson pledged to work towards the levelling up of communities across the UK after he won the December general election. As part of his agenda, the Prime Minister vowed to smooth over regional inequalities in a bid to introduce a fairer British society. In an interview with The Sun last weekend, he insisted the government had not forgotten its promises in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. Mr. Johnson said, "This government remains absolutely dedicated to unite and level up our country. We have lost none of our resolve. We are going to deliver every single one of the things that we said we would do in the general election campaign. We are not going to be blown off course by this." The government's levelling up plan promised to reach out to ailing coastal communities. Ms. McKenzie said the pledge is now more important than ever as ports face the possibility of having to close due to the epidemic. She urged ministers to extend the furlough scheme. The UK's Brexit negotiating team led by David Frost has clashed with the EU in trade talks over the issue of post-Brexit fishing. The bloc is demanding continued access to British fishing waters after the Brexit transition period has ended on December 31.